Deep Dive 1979, last historical piece to fill out the decade of the 70s. And what a fantastic decade the 1970s were. You know how we do it now. We see an Inside Wrestling issue. That is the first issue of the beginning of that month. If you see the boxing issue, that'll be the last issue for that month. We're going to look at all 12 months exactly as the magazines were released on the newsstands to us back in the day. And we're kicking it off with a special shout out to my man Bobby Norton. Hey Bobby, listen man, thank you very much for all the cool stuff you threw my way. Much appreciated, and I appreciate you watching and all the very cool comments and compliments you have made about the channel. One of those cool things, I had to show it off the bat, man. Awesome bumper sticker of Dusty, very telling of the time period. I love it, buddy. Thanks for that and everything else you give me, bud. I really appreciate it. 1979, January, out of the gate, rekindling some old feud. It started in 1976, January exact. Bruno bloodying up superstar Billy Graham on the cover of January 1979. Continuing on again from 78, the bull rope matches between Dusty Rhodes and Superstar. Of course, that goes into very deep detail in our last video, and continuing to sell out magazines whenever these two would hop on the cover, especially if they were redded up in the face, man, looking awesome. For all the guys who like the bloody covers, January 79, the wrestler Bob Backlund defending the title against Ivan Koloff, January 79. Sports Review, and the apartment house continues on. Yes, it continues for another 5 years or so, ending in sometime 84, maybe April. I know that's important information. You should write that one down. January 79, Big Book of Wrestling. And Dean Ho is the pinning in the predicament. The Lumberjacks cut off their legs of their foes. Is the Bulldog really a mad dog? Big Book of Wrestling. Not bad magazine. It was probably one of the better ones among the lesser popular magazines. Of course, Stanley Weston owned it originally, as he did with many of them before selling them off. It's not as good as when Stanley had it, but nonetheless, it's the decent of the few. Guide and Monthly were also a few that were decent. Again, with Dean Ho on the cover for Wrestling Monthly. Back in my mystery arena here with the rafters, I was trying to figure out what that was before. Still don't know. And I watched a match from there. Was it? I don't remember. I remember watching a match. It was in black and white, and it was a really small place. It was almost like a family style little canopy over where you have like a family reunion barbecue. I mean, it must have held, I don't know, it looks like 60 people from the video. It had to be the place because it was super small and it was built exactly like that. Big cage match, Backlund taking on Peter Maivia. And this is the January 22nd, 1979's issue of WWF's Madison Square Garden program. You'll see one program for each one of the months as we go through. I may have two, depending on, actually I have two coming up, one coming up next, but there's definitely one for each month. It might not be always the Garden, but it's somewhere. Here is a very rare one from Puerto Rico, 1979, with the Invaders on the cover, and very, very hard to find a Puerto Rico program printed here by the Wrestling News and Norman Keitzer. You'll never see them ever. On the back, Carlos Colon with the Invader also. Different mask here for the Invader too, had different designs on it. Pretty cool. You don't see the Invaders on much covers of anything, and here they are on the cover. Very rare one. Wrestling Wonders, as we discussed in the previous years, this will be I think it ends in 81 was their final. So there's still a couple of more years left. This is one dedicated entirely to Bruno Sammartino. Here is a shot with him and the Sheik, Waldo von Erich on the back. These are cool. Some of your best information comes from these little rags here. No sensationalism, no bullshit. It's just straight to the point, and they give you all the information because it's a small magazine with a handful of pages. But the information that comes out of there, you'll learn way more in these than you do with some of the fictitious stories that Mr. Weston put together for us. The Japanese issue has got the Funks taking on the Sheik and Abdullah from that bloody feud that started in Japan and continues throughout the U.S., and they will actually bring that to one of the last Cobo Arena's shows before it closed down. This would be the last solid year that the Sheik's territory of big-time wrestling in Detroit will exist. Just down to a few more months, and sadly, it'll be coming to an end. Boxing Magazine. Ali wins the title again, across the top for the third time, going through all three foes that he had faced throughout that 78 and 77, actually even 75 years. 75 year. New month, February 78. Plotting to take out Bob Backlund is Bockwinkel and Race. Great looking shot at both world champions on their cover here. The wrestler Ernie Ladd takes on Dusty Rhodes, and Ric Flair in a small corner here. He will win the NWA title and then turn it down. Why would he do something like that? In Sports Review, February 79, Backlund and continuing on with Koloff. On the bottom, Blackjack Mulligan taking on Greg the Hammer. Greg the Hammer back once again now, making his way up to the Northeast, and be taking on Backlund for a series of matches, which continued on from 78 into 79. And this is the one and only issue for 1979 for Wrestling Today, which this issue is here. I'm not sure. I think this is the first issue. Don't quote me on that. I might be wrong. There wasn't many. I did a video on all the issues released for Wrestling Today. It's not a popular magazine, but it's a very good one nonetheless. Very good photos inside. They weren't cheaply done. The spines were thick and they were made really well, and they hold up really good. I want to say this was the first, but there may have been one sooner. I just can't remember off the top of my head. Wrestling Review has went down over the years, got a little bit better, and then started going down, and you'll see the decline here because this is the last full year of a subscription that people would get from Wrestling Review. 79, it'll be gone, and 80, 81, new owners take over in November of 79. We'll get to that when we get to the end up in November, and it's a judo jacket match. Bruno Sammartino takes the cover. February 79, and this is what I explained before. If you collect programs and you collect Madison Square Garden programs, this is issue number 18. Number 17, 16, 15, so forth are not numbered, and you won't find the number on anywhere on that program. This was the new style that the Wrestling News had taken over the making of the publication, and they didn't number the first 17. It just started with number 18. That could be driving you absolutely batshit crazy if you're trying to figure that out. If you are, check out the Madison Square Garden program video I did. I'll explain all that for you there. This is Backlund taking on Valentine now for February 19th. Rounding it off with a Japanese issue, Antonio Inoki gets the front cover. Big story though, Dusty Rhodes and Harley Race taking on each other. Dusty's gunning for the title and wants it desperately. Final boxing issue for February, again with Muhammad Ali. Why he may never fight anymore is getting close for him. The end is almost near, and a legacy that was well built and probably should have just retired after recapturing that title one last time from Spinks. Inside Wrestling, great bloody cover of Harley Race and Blackjack Mulligan. As I'm staring off and seeing Dino Bravo over here with Superstar Graham, I never really laid eyes that focused well on that. That's why I was distracted for a second. Great cover, man. I mean, if you love blood and guts and gore, and that's the magazines that sold the most, this was definitely the one that you need in your collection for sure. Dusty now looking at Bockwinkel, taking on him for the AWA title for March of 1979. He had a big run with Superstar Graham. He went after Harley Race, and now he's taken after Nick Bockwinkel. He has got his name in 3 promotions, all at the same time, in and out, very hot in the WWF, very hot throughout the country in the NWA territories, now coming up to the AWA and challenge for the title. Harley Race taking on Andre the Giant, March 1979. bloodbath with Bruiser Brody in the Lone Star State. Dusty Rhodes battling with Brody on the bottom. Just 2 issues for Wrestling World in 79. Bruno is back. Legend defeats Superstar Graham in a grudge match. Special edition 1979. Also Race, Backlund, and Bockwinkel in a 3 separate pictures, 8x10s of all 3 champions with the belts. So if you get this issue, make sure that program is in there. The poster is actually really cool of all 3 guys all by themselves posing. It's a great pinups if you like that kind of stuff. Big Book continues on with the bull rope match. Dusty taking on Superstar. And Wrestling Monthly once again, 1979. There's my favorite arena that I don't have no idea where it is. One of these days I will figure that out. Andre and Dusty Rhodes capture the Mid-South United States Tag Team Championship belts. This is discussed on several of our videos here, but on the cover of the Wrestling News, issue number 54. The Garden, Backlund takes on Valentine once again, March of 1979. Bruno is back at the Garden, and Ivan Koloff is looking right down his throat. Antonio Inoki showing you against, he took on all the professionals from every other sport, from jiu-jitsu to judo to boxing to kickboxing. Antonio Inoki is America's martial art world heavyweight champion, recognized by the WWF. If you don't care about that, there's great bloody photos and shots of here of Abdullah versus the Sheik. 1978, year of decisions. Fighter of the year, justifiably so, Larry Holmes, one of the best to come out of this decade of 79 through 84 or so. Larry really was a knocker, man, putting dudes out, finishing them fast, and once he had you, you were done. One of my favorite heavyweights of the time period, and this is World Boxing March of 1979. Got to meet Larry Holmes a few times, and it was such a cool dude to talk to, man. Spent as much time with you as you wanted. You could just stand there, and people would get pissed off behind you for asking too many questions about tough shit. April 79, Flair is taking on Dusty Rhodes. Andre with the Superstar. Superstar about to disappear. That's actually an older match. That was from back in early 78, that match with Andre. So Superstar is kind of going to go on a hiatus real shortly in 1980 and just run some smaller territories throughout 79. April 79, Bobby Backlund on top. Would the match happen with San Martino? Both world champions on the cover here showing their belts. And what kind of a match would it be? Probably pretty boring for the fans who want action here on the Northeast. Maybe more appreciated with our friends down south who appreciate the finer styles of wrestling, the mat wrestling. I like them both. I love them both. April 79, Graham back again with Ivan Putski. Again, another older magazine cover. Match took place in 78. Bloody Andre the Giant on the Greatest Battles, and Bockwinkel gets a small corner shot of the Spring issue, 1979. Spring is actually a shitload of magazines. Spring, July, and November are the biggest months for releases. Probably because it had to do with some of the quarter releases, like the best ofs, the annuals, the yearbooks, and shit like that. But even so, like a lesser known magazine would also put one of theirs out during those months. I guess that was like the peak selling point. Beginning of summer, midsummer, the end of January, beginning into February is decent, then it dies off for a month or two, picks back up again. But those 3 months seem to be the best and the most of their month. 79, Dusty Rhodes on the cover with Dino Bravo. Dusty Rhodes on another annual sports review. This, just so you know, I know I've said it a million times before, Victory Sports Series annual. Sports Review Series annual. Okay, there's 2 different ones, and they can get confusing. The font is exactly the same, and it looks just like it. One's Victory Sports, one's Sports Review. Both had their own annuals, and Victory Sports also put out the yearbook. Both Victory Sports titles ended in 1980. They would find your last issue. From there, it would be strictly sports review. Picture book, another magazine that's about to come to an end in this decade of the 70s. Older shot here of Superstar Graham when he wins the title from Bruno. Bloody Dusty Rhodes on Best of the Wrestler, spring of 1979. Dusty once again picking up on as many magazines as he did in 1978. He's still killing it. Red hot is Dusty on the Superstars of Wrestling, April 79. Steve Kern on the cover of Wrestling Review, April, looks to be driving a golf cart here. Maybe he has an injury, his leg's up, I don't know. Florida guys could probably tell me better. Backlund takes on Bulldog Brower. Also, this is Roddy Piper's, actually his second appearance. His first one was against Frankie Williams the month before. I forgot to make mention of that. And this is April 30th, 1979. Backlund, Bulldog, and Piper. I don't know why I didn't say that before. Yeah, here it is. There's the issue that Piper was on. Okay, the one we passed earlier. January's issue, but as a matter of fact. Takes on Frankie Williams, of all people, the guy he beats up on Piper's Pit. That made for a very memorable skit. 1979's edition of Wrestling Wonders, and it's mostly information from the Northeast. They took pictures, and posted them from everybody, because all these guys were in the WWF at the same time. Even though that's the America's title from Los Angeles, this is the Florida Heavyweight Championship on Ernie Ladd, NWA champ Briscoe, who has long lost the title since then. They do show some up-to-date stuff. They just show old photos that are pretty good. And you can see it's like a cheaper production made. You can see the outline of the 4x6s here that aren't all blended in. It's small, it's raw, it's cheap, and it's to the point. And I thought, these were awesome for information that we didn't get in the bigger magazines. Knocking it out of the park is Gong with their top 100 best wrestlers in America. And you're wondering, wow, man, Buddy Rogers, what's he doing up there? He's long retired. He's been out for at least 10, 12 years or so, from the early 60s. And this is cool. This is huge. I mean, it's 100% color. I guess, 95% color. All great photos of different wrestlers and different matches that were going on. There's some black and white towards the back, but you get some great photos nonetheless. It is, about an inch thick. It's not really a magazine. We'll call that a sucker a book. I mean, you hear the slam down. It's like an 8-pound freaking book there. Boxing International, April 1979. Mike the Maniac Rossman in his first title defense. I laugh. I know Mike well. He was my across the street neighbor, and I tell some wacky stories about Mike in our boxing video. Great dude. What a madman. Mike Rossman. His name's not Mike Rossman. He's actually an Italian guy. He has the Jewish star here, and he did that for political reasons from the mob. But Mike Rossman on the cover, first and only main shot of Rossman on the cover. And you'll see him in a couple smaller shots after he became the world champion. And the whole town was super excited for him. Didn't hold the title long. Enjoyed the partying a little bit too much. I think he was just surprised and happy he got there in the first place. Kind of like a shocker. Again, backing it up with Spinks and Ali. I mean, another shocker. No one expected that coming. And Mike would lose that title back to the guy he beat it from shortly after. Inside Wrestling, May of 1979. And Dusty takes on Superstar in the far corner. And a good shot of Steamboat posing on the cover. Steamboat again with Precious Paul Jones. And 1979, Harley Race is taking on Tony Gurria. And the new World Tag Team Champions who just won them on TV are the Valiant Brothers. Superstar Graham again taking on Andre the Giant in May of 1979. Yearbook 1979, Dusty, who is the top wrestling superstar, Andre the Giant, Dino Bravo, and Steamboat alike. Big Book is back with the Graham brothers for the first time together. We're going to be defending, not defending anything. They're going to be defending their honor, let's say, in the Garden for the first time as a tag team. and Graham and Crazy Luke. Crazy Luke had a decent 6-10 week run with the WWF a few different times, and he's making his way back before going back out. I think he goes down with Fuller and the Southern Championship Wrestling, which was another one of my favorite independent companies that you don't see much. I love their TV. It was just so cheap. Like, it's just a basic, studio and just a handful of things. I love that atmosphere. I miss that. It'll never be captured again. And it's just, thank God there's people who had the hindsight to record those matches, and we can still relive it. And it'll keep us away from all the bullshit that they're, the high school play dramas that they have wrestling today. There's plenty of content out there we can find, so we can stay in the 70s and the early part of the 80s as long as we want. Wrestling Monthly, May of 1979. Gong puts out a special Bob Backlund all profile photo album, and it's also stories. It's not just photo album, but there's some great photos in here. If you do get this, it's rather expensive. Make sure that the poster is with it. I can't open it, it's too big. I'll just show you a quarter of it because it folds 2 more times. It's Backlund here with the belt, the great belt shot of Bob that comes with this one. If you do look for it and do want it, make sure the poster is there. There's no denying it. It's simple. It's enormous, and it's attached inside there. So it comes out really simple. May of 1979, World Boxing, and we're getting our first look at Sugar Ray Leonard on the cover. Is he more popular than Ali? Neck and neck, especially for a welterweight. He's getting a lot of thunder. He certainly was an incredible boxer, like him or hate him. And taking a look at wrestling action here from Florida. Thanks, Bobby. And not so much inside because of Harley Race, because someone's making a comeback. Nature Boy Buddy Rogers taking on Sonny King. Now, it was kind of hushed. It was kind of quiet. He was, I guess, Rogers was down there getting some warm-up matches for a brief comeback to take on Flair for a small feud that those two would get into between 79 and 80. Yeah, pretty cool. May 17th, 1979, Buddy Rogers here, and gorgeous Jimmy Garvin, before he was gorgeous, taking on Harley Race for the NWA title. And just one of the NWA actions. Dusty back on the cover, taking on Ole Anderson, dropping the elbow, June of 1979. Mr. Wrestling 2 on the cover of June of 79. Also Ladd battling with Andre the Giant in Bill Watts' territory of Mid-South. Bill Watts would purchase Leroy McGurk's territory sometime in this year of 79, putting the NWA, leaving the NWA affiliate and becoming Mid-South Wrestling Association, and would still have a working relationship with the NWA, and it would still be somewhat affiliated with some of the guys back and forth. But Watts would take over that territory as he expands. Apartment Wrestling Night of Vengeance, but Dusty Rhodes taking on Mark Lewin, most likely in Florida in another bull rope match. Dusty, the king of the bull ropes, bloody terror of the bull rope match, Dusty Rhodes. Backlund takes on the winner of a 20-man battle royal, June 4th, 1979, and I believe one of our Pro Wrestling Mag's faithful told me this was the Iron Sheik that won the battle royal and got to face Backlund. The 6th of June, I forget what's in here, so I can't even really begin. Oh, you know what's in here? We got some color action here I wanted to show from Backlund taking on Bockwinkel. Backlund takes on Bockwinkel. We haven't been notified yet in our magazines. The Japanese have already released the coverage of the match. And here's some great color shots that you guys never had a chance to see before, unless you own this issue. Backlund and Bockwinkel before the match, belt to belt. And Bockwinkel would be moving on to take on Jerry Lawler next, with one of Jerry Lawler's first appearances in a Japanese magazine. And if you look close, you can see the photographer at the time, good old Jim Cornette. Yep, Jim Cornette was a manager. I'm sorry, a photographer before he became a manager. There's some couple pretty cool photos in here. Yep. Here's Bockwinkel again with that longer hair, kind of looking like Jeff Jarrett a little bit there. Good looking shots here. Backlund takes on Ken Patera, and some more fantastic color shots. Oh, how about Randy Savage taking on the Sheik in 1979? Macho Man, the ICW World Heavyweight Champion, trying to get that in there without the glare, without killing you. And he is driving the spike into the Sheik's forehead. Good bloody shot of Savage and Sheik. Savage was a bloody mess during this match. A few more pictures to close this issue out. I think I've showed this one before. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm sure I would have at some point. If I didn't, I mean, sorry for the delay there. But great shots of Macho and the Sheik. Sheik getting old here, pretty gray. But it would all turn black again by the time he went to Japan in 91 and 2. So he hit the fountain of youth somewhere. Ric Flair on the cover of this issue, This Isn't Why We're Here. Hulk Hogan's rookie card that sells for about $200 and some odd is also not why we're here. We don't give a shit about that. We care about Ted DiBiase, who is the new WWF North American Heavyweight Champion. And here he is with the North American belt. Good looking shot of DiBiase. He's not on any magazine covers with that, sad to say, or programs. So it was the only photo that I had of him that I could show as the North American champion for as short-lived as that was. Also in this magazine is one of the best bloody shots of Ric Flair I've ever seen in my life. And man, he is a gushing mess. Wow. This is the issue. If you see this issue and you want it, get it fast. Make sure the cards are in it, because it's ridiculously expensive with the cards in it. Without the cards, you can get it for less money. Like I said, always check, always ask. They will play stupid and say, I don't know. You want pictures, because if you're going to pay $150 to $200 for this to get this thing, you know, whatever you do with it, graded or whatever the hell, that's what you wanted to spend the money on for that. So make sure it's there. If you want it for just a bloody picture, you might be able to get one with the cards ripped out a lot cheaper. Ali again, June 79 on the cover. It's a special souvenir issue dedicated to Ali. July, Ivan Koloff taking on Dusty Rhodes. On the bottom, Ernie the Cat Ladd showing off with his North American Heavyweight title. First time you're seeing a good look at this North American Heavyweight Championship, defended in Bill Watts' Mid-South territory there. I like that a lot. I wish it was a bigger one. Ernie's on a lot of covers, and he was super popular in the 70s, and I've always been a big fan of Big Cat Ernie Ladd. Backlund eyeing up with Harley Race. And is that match going to happen? Will it happen again? Again, meaning they met several times in St. Louis. And will it come against title versus title? Backlund has a victory over Harley Race for the Missouri title in 76. And can Backlund take it now for the NWA World title? This could have easily been my absolute all-time favorite magazine, not for the TNA, but for Ric Flair and Blackjack Mulligan in a cage. Damn, I would love to see more photos of that in color. I wish that had gotten a full cover. But sometimes the pictures that we have in our imagination are a lot better than the actual match themselves, or a lot better than anything that could have been released. So I leave it to that, you know. It's kind of how we all look at it. And that was another good thing about, you know, the magazines. We didn't know everything. So a lot of it we had to surmise, we had to imagine it. And, you know, a lot of times when you imagine things, they can be a lot better than the actual event itself. 79, Superstar, in an older match, looking back against Mil Maskers, where he nearly has him demasked. Superstar battle, San Martino battling the man Stasiak, and Bulldog Brower snarling, I can get crazy. Dusty Rhodes battling Nick Bockwinkel hits the Magazines and Wrestling's picture book. Ricky Steamboat will be taking the title from Ric Flair. Is that correct? I forget. Both of those were U.S. champs. Both of them wrestled each other a bunch of different times. Snuka is in the mix. I believe Snuka beat Steamboat. So I'm going to say Steamboat beat Flair for the title, I believe that is. I forget. Superstar Graham back with Harley Race from the match in 78 from the Super Bowl of Wrestling on the annual Victory Sports Series, summer of 79. Backlund gets the cover of summer 79 of the Sports Review annual. At the Garden, Bob Backlund is preparing for one of the most brutal feuds in his career, so they say, as the magazines say. And it's up against none other than the new North American heavyweight champion, Pat Patterson. Pat Patterson, managed by the Grand Wizard, comes in and has never been defeated by Bob Backlund, as he says. I don't think they've ever met. And coming in, this will be one of 4 back-to-back matches Backlund would have with Patterson at the Garden. Never have been like that before and never has been since. Usually you get a 3, sometimes if you're lucky you get a 2, but never a 4 matcher. And this was the only time in 79 for Backlund and Patterson. Their first kicked off July 2nd, 1979. Here is a photo. The first match ended with Bob Backlund having too much blood and they stopped it, and Patterson was declared the winner of the match. In between their first match and second match, Patterson goes to Brazil to challenge the South American heavyweight champion of the world and defeats him in a tournament, depending on what you believe. This is, again, using our imagination here. There was a couple different stories. One was facing the South American champion, and then the other one was winning it in a tournament at the end for the South American championship. He comes on TV. This is all explained in this issue of Wrestling Wonders. I'm trying to go off the top of my head. The second match, Patterson would also win. It would be by a count out, I believe it was. And now Patterson has 2 wins over the champ, and it's not looking good for Bob, beating the snot out of him. So as Patterson comes back to TV in the Worldwide Wrestling Federation and says this is now the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship, blending the South with the North America, and now we have Intercontinental, and I will be defending this title strictly in the World Wrestling Federation territory. Any and all welcome are to come to challenge this. This belt means more to me than Bob Backlund's World Wrestling Federation title. This is international. So there it is. All that is in this information of Wrestling Wonders. The back has it's the lineup sheet that they always gave cheaply, and Dusty Rhodes gets the shot also on the back. That will be the build-up of their third matchup. This Wrestling Wonders has information on both first and second as well. Bob Backlund taking on Patterson now for the second time. July of 1979's issue from the Garden. And we just seen him make his comeback in Florida. Here he is on the cover now. Buddy Rogers, the Nature Boy, puts the tights back on for another match. And covered inside this issue also, Randy Savage is in here with the Sheik once again. Here, that is when they were throwing the fire in Savage's face. I know I showed that one once before. Harley Race on the cover as world champion, and this is on the cover of Monthly Pro Deluxe. Boxing issue, big Danny Lopez, and I say big as he is a lightweight boxer, but the first boxer ever to appear on the cover of a magazine wearing the any weight belt is Danny Lopez. Never has before been a champion with a belt. Do you believe that? From 1922, the very first issue of Boxing Magazine, which was The Ring, up until now, July of 79, there's never been a champion on the cover with their belt. WBC belt is being the first one featured. This title came in 1963 after Sonny Liston defeated Floyd Patterson. And that's the same old green belt that we still have out there today. That's the most iconic one in boxing. The WBA was also around. That's the oldest, that's the original, and no one was ever featured on a cover with that. No one really got the belt. They used it as a trophy. So it really wasn't something that they wore on around their waist, except for a photo or two. And finding photos with champions is very, very difficult. I have one with Ali. I have one with Joe Frazier. And don't be mistaken with the Ring Magazine awarded belt. That is also a belt, but that's an award. That's not a belt that you actually won for a conference or an association. So the only time ever a major wrestling boxing corporation's belt is ever on a cover is this one. This is the very first. It's about to explode in the 1980s because the boxers will all start wearing them to the ring, and they will be having them around their waist in a lot of photos like the wrestling always did. Boxing never did it, and it's pretty crazy. August 1979, Flair taking on Ricky Steamboat. Our magazines, and they're catching up to the Backlund match with Bockwinkel. And inside here, I just thought was a cool shot of the match between Andre the Giant and Harley Race. And there were black and white photos for this, but I just thought it was just a really cool shot here of Andre the Giant. As it states, he is 480 pounds at this time, facing Harley. And here is Harley on the right here, slamming Andre in the center of the ring. It is up, it is over, it is beyond his head, and it's going down. Harley also getting slammed himself, and then Harley dropping the knee drop there. Great looking shot of Harley beating up on Andre the Giant for the NWA World Title. Andre does not get the belt. Koloff making it to the cover of Sports Review several months back. We seen that match on the Garden on the front cover there. Older picture is Backlund versus Race gets the catchphrase. It's Superstar Graham that's on the cover after he just cut his hair and just lost the title. This is his second attempt to regain his title back against Backlund, August 79. Backlund taking on Patterson, part 3 here in August of 27th, 1979. And the boxing issues. Can we solve the muddled up heavyweight picture of who's the champs? We have now 2 champions. The belts are no longer unified. One is with Ali, another is with Larry Holmes. And August of 79's issue. Steamboat taking on Nick Bockwinkel inside wrestling, September 1979. And I just gotta make some room behind me here. I got a whole stack that's falling up my back here. Steamboat once again with Ernie Ladd on the cover. This is also the logo of our buddy Scotty Richardson with Wrestling Weekly Presents, man. He has a cool little logo there, and this is what the logo was captured for, and it's not in color like that, so there's no copyright. Speaking of copyright, you remember when I did my 100th video? And the opening sequence, I was just kind of walking around and I happened to catch the side of my television there and we're listening to the Midnight Express song. I got a fucking copyright strike for that. I'm like, what are you kidding me? I took it off. I'm watching a video on YouTube and it's already on there. I mean, and it's from somebody else who made their own little video. So I didn't get it, man. But apparently I was allowed to use it. And I guess the owner of the music had it as, it can be used. So I didn't really get a strike, but I got a warning. And I was told to watch out. I was like, holy shit, I can't believe it, man. For a song in the background? How ridiculous. Wahoo on the cover with Flair in an Indian strap match, March of 1979. And what do we see? The debut magazine, excuse me, of Pro Wrestling Illustrated. The very first of the long-running PWI. Started right here in September. You would have 2 issues. Some people think there was only 1 in 79. There are 2. This would run till today, still running today, and nearly 2025 now that we're in. This is 2024, the ending, and hopefully it'll continue to survive. Even though I don't support it, I don't buy it, I don't like anything about it, I don't want to see it go away. I was crushed when The Ring went out of business, and Oscar De La Hoya closed shop and made it only a online magazine. That sucks. I can't believe there's no more physical boxing magazines in our country anymore. It's a fucking travesty, but what are you gonna do? Sometimes, newer isn't always better, and that's all the more reason to grab these suckers and save them from existence. It's up to people like us here, who we can save this stuff and preserve it so it's there, because that's how shit gets rewritten and forgot about. If you do buy this and you spend the couple $100 ridiculous dollars that people ask for it, make sure you're not being fooled by the knockoff replica version that was released, sometime whenever in the 2000 whatevers. It's cut smaller. The magazine's pages are different. They changed some things to the style of the cover and the back of the cover with Steamboat and Backlund. I didn't like the pictures on the back, and just for the simple reason that it's been cut shorter. Piss off, man. Don't fuck with my magazines. Well, I don't want a magazine the size of a comic book. And it's bad enough the Japanese issues were like that, but I'll take it because it makes up for the color. But there was no reason to cut these magazines down as you did. Following the PWI, Stanley Weston also put out what was going to shortly become the hottest and the best-selling boxing magazine on the market. These came out in 1980, but I just wanted to put it there so you could see this for a minute. This is issue number 1 from KO, and I'll just go through them. There's only 5 for this year. 1980 was their release, and this was the cream of the crop, separating them from everybody else with the best coverage. Only like Stanley Weston can do it, and this was an absolute favorite right off the bat. For the color posters that you got alone inside, no one was doing shit like that. So thanks to Stanley Weston for bringing us KO magazine, which was absolutely my favorite boxing magazine besides, I loved, World and also International, but KO was the cream of the crop. That was the PWI boxing version. Greg the Hammer on the cover of 1979's September, and here he is as the Mid-Atlantic Heavyweight Champion in Crockett territory. Magazines now are catching up again. Now Backlund is on the cover with Bockwinkel during their match. Superstar Graham comes up to Memphis, and he's looking to take on Jerry Lawler and capture his belt. I think this is a program from Tupelo. Yeah, this is Tupelo, Mississippi, and it's got Joe LeDuc on the cover. That match did not take place there at Tupelo, but it's just the lineup sheet. I can show you the lineup sheet if you want to see it, but nothing big. Just a small card. Tommy Rich, Plowboy Frazier, who was Uncle Elmer. Thanks to my friends who told me that too. I never knew that. I never even heard of Plowboy Frazier, for Christ's sake. When all the other little gimmicks that the dude did. September 79, Blackjack Mulligan, and here with Paul Jones. And the fourth and final match to end this war between Backlund and Patterson, 1979, September, inside of a steel cage. If you couldn't tell, it's written right in front of you in bold. And Backlund would walk out the door and become and remain the heavyweight champion. Not for very long. Here, and you know what? In this issue here, here's Pat Patterson with the belts color shot. The only color shot I had of him with it was just my signed 8x10. But cool looking shot of Patterson as the first Intercontinental Champion. And here it gives you some information at the bottom. I'll just paraphrase a little bit along. Patterson claims Intercontinental title. Pat Patterson recently notified the World Wrestling Federation officials that he will no longer be defending the North American title belt that he had won from Ted DiBiase a few months ago. Patterson explained that he has returned. He went to Rio de Janeiro and returned, and now has defeated the champion in Luna Park, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. And he had become now, he declared himself now the Intercontinental Championship title holder. As a result, he'll be defending the title throughout the World Wrestling Federation. Everything I pretty much just said to you a few minutes ago is written right here. And you want to pause and read, more than welcome to. If you have this issue, it'll show it inside. The lineup sheets of all of these are all in. No one ever really ripped these things out. This even has the results to the cage match. Never even actually noticed that before. Both were bleeding. It looks like it says Backlund escaped, the first one out. Okay, so there it is inside this issue. and it ended the feud. Now, shortly after that, another interesting thing happens. The Grand Wizard's pissed off. He's the manager of Patterson, and he doesn't want him as his wrestler anymore, and he wants to sell his contract. And that kind of like annoyed Patterson. You could see that the turn was probably going to come here. And then the following on TV, he sold his contract to Captain Lou Albano, and Patterson's hot about that. He says, I don't want to be affiliated with this fat, smelly, stinking, corrupt slob. And and then that fans all started cheering, and then that's when Patterson turns face on television, becoming the first champion to turn from heel to face as a champion. And it wouldn't be done again for another 10 years, exactly 10 years, in 1989, when Macho Man Savage turns heel on Hulk Hogan from being a face as champion. So only twice that I know of in the WWF. 89 is past my interest point with the cartoon shit, but it may have happened again. I don't know. It should have, because it's a good angle. It's a good swerve to do to the fans, and we'll see that coming. That's a pretty good idea. Continuing their bloodfest are the Funks and the Sheik and Abdullah. This match would go to the Sheik's territory in a steel cage. March of 80, I want to say. Sadly, that territory would last 3 more shows and it would be over. So really, in 1979, it was the end of Detroit big time wrestling. The Sheik's territory. He would have, I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I mean, there was one show in March, another one in May. He defended against Ernie Ladd, the Mighty Igor. I think the last title defense the Sheik had was against Ernie Ladd, but there was only between 3 or 4 shows throughout the year of 1980, but the territory was already done. They just did a couple of pop-up shows at the Cobo Hall, but the talent was gone, the magic was gone, and sadly the fans were also gone. Why Ali must retire now. My man, Mr. Rossman, on the cover on the top corner there, just before he is about to get dethroned from the title. Killer Carl Cox taking on Dusty Rhodes in October of 1979. Paul Jones and Ric Flair continue their blood feud. They would be on 5 magazine covers, that feud. It would be red hot, a very bloody war, and 5 covers is pretty cool from different publications. Dusty Rhodes on the cover of Sports Review, October of 1979. Ricky Steamboat on October 79. Superstars. Steamboat now just becoming the U.S. champion from Flair. Soon to be losing that U.S. title to Superfly Snuka, and then Flair would get the U.S. title back, and then that would be it for him. He would be the world heavyweight champion throughout the decade of the 80s after winning it in 82. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, you'll see, is crossed off. I'm not down with any of that dragon dog shit. It's Ricky Steamboat, and he'll always be Ricky Steamboat with the long hair, well, short hair too, but it's the trunks and none of that karate bullshit that he never knew in the first place. Actually, picture book, October, Koloff with The American Dream, Backlund and Flair, October 79 annual. Also Harley Race taking on Ted DiBiase, who just returned to the Mid-South Territory and is no longer the North American Heavyweight Champion. Short-lived WWF North American Heavyweight Championship. October, Bulldog Brower on the cover of Review. Guerrero taking on Eddie Mansfield on the cover of Big Book. This is Eddie Mansfield's one and only magazine cover ever, before getting blacklisted in sometime in 83. Like him or hate him, I always thought Eddie Mansfield was a great wrestler. I thought he could sell good. I thought he was excellent in the ring. He had great moves. He took good bumps. He was great on the mic. He was good at insulting people. He's a much better heel than anything else. It's a shame. It's a shame that he didn't go any further. Kind of put him in like the same category wrestler as like Tommy Rich. Just good at what they did, at what the role that they played. And I know he gets a lot of shit for what he did, and that's none of our business, honestly. We're fans. We sit back, we watch it, and we buy tickets, and we enjoy the show. And what people do is what people do. Eddie Mansfield, I always dig the dude, and I always try to find out different shit with him, and he's not on much at all. I mean, just that cover, a few program covers, and that's pretty much it. Spending most of his time in the Southwest with Blanchard. Also Florida, where he was a Florida champion, Florida tag team, even the Southern Florida champion as well. October 22nd, Bruno is in the house once again with Greg the Hammer Valentine. Sweet Hansen making his appearance from North Carolina. Here's a look at one of your last, sounds like there's a war going on outside once again here in New York. I get some background noise. But the Sheik, really rare, old, hard to get program. He, not exactly sure when this came out. I was told it was the last one. Whether it was the last one or one of the last ones. The style changed, the font changed. The Sheik's look has also changed. The program is a lot different. There's a lot less pages. Not sure if Brian Buchanan was still doing it at this point. I'm not sure. This was released sometime in 1980 when the Sheik was either going against the Funks, Ernie Ladd, Igor, or something from Cobo Hall. One of those 4 shows. So this is one of the last programs you'll see from the Body Press, and then the Sheik's territory would be done. Now, what the fuck's going on out there? This is a 1980 issue. Yeah, I see it. Yeah, I'm recording. I'll catch you later. This is one of the... holy fuck, man. Never a dull moment. Backlund on the cover with Bruno. We're not taking a look at that. We're taking a look at superstar Billy Graham. Who? The guy who disappeared? The guy who just made his reappearance in Memphis? That's him. He captures the CWA world title from Jerry Lawler. And here he is pictured with Nick Bockwinkel. And why would that be? Would that be a title versus title? Could be, because they are an AWA affiliate. And CWA and AWA were neck and neck together, interchanging people. You'll see a lot of guys who went even in the mid '80s when when Pro Wrestling USA was on. A lot of those guys came through Memphis and went through the AWA, and that's pretty much how they launched them. And it was a great platform for guys. If I went back and watched old AWA, it is kind of lame and it's kind of low budget, but there was some decent shit there, man. You can cherry pick some stuff through there. There were some really good moments in the 80s before they turned. Before they closed. So, Superstar in here, and here's just a shot from the match with Lawler. Lawler got the title back. Superstar winning the title October 8th, 1979, and would lose the title back to Lawler in November 8th, exactly 1 month to the day. He would lose the title, and that would be Superstar's last belt until he got to Florida in '84 and beat Billy Jack. Harley Race taking on Dusty Rhodes. Dusty Rhodes winning the NWA World title, but it went right back to Harley Race again. Short-lived victory for Dusty Rhodes. All covered in this issue of Gong. Also, another issue of Gong for October. Abdullah the Butcher bloodied over Mil Mascaras as they battled in Japan. Can Sugar Ray Leonard become another Ali? Only time will tell. Shave that afro and you'll look a lot better and you'll move a lot faster. I hated him with the afro. I liked him with the shaved head much better. October of 1979. Great dude, man. I got to meet Sugar Ray also. You've seen my other autograph magazine that I have with him. Another cool guy, man. Fun to talk to and very open and honest about himself. Meaning he would talk about how drugs screwed his life up and, made him this and that, but also made him better at the time. I kind of relate what he's saying, but cool guy without a doubt. Sports Illustrated gets a front cover of Holmes and the Shavers fight, and man, what a battle. Holmes, this was one incredible fight. I suggest you look it up, check it out, and you see some heavy bombs being thrown in that match. It's just a great looking cover. I didn't want to talk about the match, but what an awesome cover Sports Illustrated gives, right? A lot of them, are this and that, but when they really wanted to do an incredible action photo, it just doesn't get much better than that. Those old boxing shoes, the ponies, man, very telling of the time. Most people don't even remember the pony sneakers. November 79, Inside Wrestling, as we're getting ready to close out the decade here. Ivan Putski and Bulldog Brower, and I just dropped one along the way. The wrestler here, no, that's why it's not in a case, in a bag. I should have had that covered. Backlund finally making it now from the summertime of the battle with Patterson, and a Bloody Bob on the cover with Patterson holding up the belt. He did win 2 of those bouts, but didn't get the title for them. Very close. But now at this point, Patterson is a babyface and getting ready to lose that title to Ken Patera sometime in 80. Chief J and Greg Valentine battle, trying to capture the same gimmick as Valentine, and Wahoo comes up short because Wahoo was a much better wrestler and a much more popular down south than Chief J Strombo was. Just, I don't know. I don't like Chief J at all. Never liked him. I thought he was a terrible wrestler. Just like, Dominic DeNucci, I thought was awful. The only reason I think he had a job was because of Bruno. There's just 2 guys that I just couldn't stand that, never did nothing wrong. I just didn't like them on TV. I mean, everyone has their people that they don't like. I always keep saying Superstar. You should have just called him Superstar San Martino. Would have worked good. Here he is taking on Luscious Johnny V in an arm lock, and Steamboat and Flair joined as a tag team. Will it be a disaster? Bob Backlund on the cover, Sports Review Annual. Wanted man to defeat Bob Backlund. Great looking cover. Great looking in action pose, like with a slash, because he's just coming up to the ring, and the photographer is standing on the opposite side or pretty close to him to capture that shot. It's pretty cool. Usually you catch him the other way going up the steps or from the bottom, but here he is eye level taking a great photo there, almost like he was posing for it. Flair, now the U.S. champion, and defeats Superfly Jimmy Snuka and takes the title from Jimmy. This is November 79. Funk battling with Mr. Wrestling 2 on the Wrestling's Greatest Battles. This will be also the last year for the Greatest Battles. Wrestling Review Annual, as it ends, the new owners took over in November, and they are soon to be closing it down, with Wrestling Review only having 4 issues remaining, and they will end in 1980. Wrestling Guide also ends. This is a final issue. There might be one more with Backlund, actually. This was, I thought, was the last issue, and when I found that one with Backlund, that was by accident. I didn't even know that one was out there. It was a tough one to find. You'll see it when I get to in December. But it's got the Valiant Brothers with Captain Lou on the cover. The new owners of Wrestling Review and Wrestling Guide are the Rings Wrestling Magazine, and the Ring was changed to the Rings. This is the first issue with the S. The Ring is no longer in publication. It is now the Rings, under Norman Keitzer now, and he has all of these magazines under one umbrella, bringing them back to the States. And soon, that's why he's wiping all these magazines out, and he's going to make them all into one, the Wrestling News. That was his plan anyway. It didn't go accordingly. I do need to make an updated video for Wrestling News, and I really should, and try to make it more explainable and show every issue from 1 to the end, rather than just start from like 65 and up. David Von Erich makes his first appearance in the Garden on Backlund taking on Bobby Duncombe, November 19th, 1976. Now, something weird happens just 1 week later from here. Backlund will, we'll get there in 1 second. Backlund takes on the Sheik, takes the Sheik's U.S. title, as we show on several other videos. Backlund with the U.S. belt. Good looking shot of Dusty now, who's the Florida heavyweight champion, November 79. Harley Race and his son, Harley Race and his son on the cover of Gong, 1979. Just getting the title back from Dusty. And as I was saying, November 30th, just 2,964 miles away in Tokushima Prefecture in Japan, Backlund had his shoulders pinned for the 3 counts, losing the WWF Heavyweight Championship title. That is discussed in major detail throughout our older videos. I don't remember which ones they're on. And all the pictures that follow are all shown there, as well as the articles that were written, not the ones that tried to cover the story up, the ones that actually helped expose it. A rematch happened 6 days later, and that'll be in December. Backlund would also lose again, thanks to outside interference from Tiger Jeet Singh. Antonio Inoki, being the pro that he is, will not accept that win because it was assisted with outside interference. Therefore, Inoki surrenders the title and gives it back and won't accept it. How about that? Leading up to a match to happen against Bobby Duncum for the vacant World Wrestling Federation title, and we'll get to that in a sec. But still in November now, the boxing world taking a look at November's issue 1979. Dusty Rhodes' coverage just getting to the main magazine, finally getting on the main cover of a magazine with his title win, but it goes from race to Dusty to race again, as it says on the bottom here. Dusty holding up, Dusty getting beer poured on his head while Race is holding up his newly won title after just a few short days of having the belt. This is a 1980 issue, spring of 1980 issue, but I wanted to show a better picture of Dusty because, you know, we love Dusty and we wished he was champion a little bit longer than he was. He will get it again, and it'll be, you know, for a little bit longer, not much, but actually, we'll get it 2 more times. Again, from Flair in the 86 Bash. December 79, Andre and Johnny, that's Jerry Valiant. Kind of look for a second. Jerry Valiant making a rare magazine cover solo. On also El Hacon taking on Harley Race for the NWA title. That match took place in Houston. Another match coming out of Houston, the Spoiler taking on Jack Briscoe in December 79 issue. Great looking shot of the Spoiler there. There's a trivia. See his tattoo? Has anyone ever noticed it? Does anyone know what that is? I do. There actually was several discussions about it. A few people got it right. A lot of people got it wrong. It is a some people said it had something to do with the military and blah blah. It's not. It's a skull. It's a snake with some kind of crossbone. And I'll just leave it. You know, there is a little bit more behind it, but I don't think anyone really gives a shit. Flair taking on Dino Bravo, and this is December's 1979 yearbook. I'm trying to see December. I'm just making sure this is the last issue in the 70s for Wrestling Review. It will be back for 4 more. This is the last issue for the old owners, though. They no longer have it up in Canada. It is now back in Westchester County, New York. Final issue of Wrestling Guide. So here, this was their final issue. They put out 1 more, which I had missed on, didn't know about that. Maybe I figured it out maybe 10 years ago. But thought I had them all at one time until I looked. I was like, ooh, I was missing one. Wasn't worth the wait either. Not very good. Hulk Hogan makes his first appearance, excuse me, in December 17th, 1979. But more importantly, Backlund is taking on Bobby Duncum for the vacant World Wrestling Federation heavyweight title. What had happened was, we go back to what I just said about Inoki and the interference with Tiger Jeet Singh. Inoki not wanting the title anymore, wanted to win it on honor. But before he could get a rematch to win it with honor, Backlund had left the territory of obligations back here at home, and he had to defend his title against Bobby Duncum. Proof of all this is you have to read between the lines if you watch the match. And if you guys, those of you who pay for the WWF's library shit, whatever app that is on, see if that match is on there. I'm not sure. Duncum came to the ring as the challenger. Backlund came to the ring, not announced as champion by the ring announcer. He mentioned this is the heavyweight Bob Backlund comes to the ring. Backlund's not wearing the belt. The president of the WWF is carrying the belt to the ring. So it wasn't around Backlund's waist. He wasn't announced as champion. The TV announcers say he's champion because you can't let it go completely. But if you look between the lines of him not having the belt on, him not being announced as champion, and know what happened in Japan, you'll know that Backlund wasn't the champion. And the WWF, still to this day, is trying to do a stellar job of keeping that hidden and unrecognized on their part, which is just fucking stupid. The title changed, and that's just the way it is. Stop trying to, rewrite history and tell us it's something else. Stop telling us they're drones out there in New Jersey. We know they're not drones, they're UFOs. International Boxing gets Sugar Ray on the cover of the last issue of December of 79, and he is the king. And there it is. Nothing about this magazine. This is 1980, but rather than have you look at nothing, take a look at a bloody Bob Backlund as we closed out 1979. Thanks for checking this video out with me from all over. I don't know, wherever you are. Where are you guys anyway? I mean, I'm kind of curious to see how far this channel actually goes. If anyone feels like telling me where they're from, that would be cool. It says there's a few people outside the country, not a whole lot, mostly males. 55 to 65 is our clique, which is, understandable. And it says mostly, it's America, which is, I know there's some out there. There's a couple from other different countries we've been talking to. Even if you don't write or you don't ever say anything, maybe just, give your initials to where your state is, your country is. I was just curious. You don't have to. I don't give a shit, but it would be cool if you did. All right, I'm going to shut up. We'll see you on the next, guys.